Good day and welcome to this Monday afternoon first segment of A Week at the Plot. Both Richard and I were expecting that we'd get out of London today and do a little bit of walking in the countryside. However, the gate sale was really quite exhausting on Saturday. Then for me, I had the midsummer revels at For Her Sake on the Sunday. I left about 11 o'clock. I didn't get back till late in the evening. And I'm pretty exhausted today. And Richard did quite a lot of work as well in the garden over the weekend. So we decided to have a sort of quieter day today, get on with things at home. I've got on with the work that I expected to do tomorrow afternoon and just have a quieter day, which means that I'm down here earlier than expected, which in this week, which is lovely because I've been able to sow some Autumn King carrots. They're an absolute staple. I knew about them before we met Vivi, but once we started watching Vivi's channel and she was sowing Autumn King, I was like, oh yeah, I know Autumn King as well. You know, it keeps well into winter, into the winter months in the UK, particularly if your soil is able to be dug in the winter. So the soil here in the bed that I've just sown in is pretty light, as I think you know. So all I did is I've intersown between carrots that have germinated and survived and are growing. I've intersown this variety. The other one I think is a mix of varieties. I'm a mix of a whole different load of varieties. So I expect that I'll be able to see the difference between them. I think the ones that are growing will be a good month or 6 weeks ahead of the Autumn King. But once Autumn King do get growing, they really go for it. But maybe I'll need to put some little markers just next to the ones that are already growing. So yeah, I did shallow drills. I sowed thinly with my fingers and then I covered that up as you saw, and I've given it a really good water. In about 20 minutes time, I'm going to give it another really good water. And then I think about 20 minutes after that, I will do it again because we are quite dry at the moment. And this bed in particular, because it's a raised bed, it drains really quite well. So I'm going to need to keep on top of watering of that bed, which is absolutely fine. But yes, I spoke about the gate sale in last week's A Week at the Plot. And we had the midsummer revels at For Her Sake yesterday. And it was a lovely, lovely day, including doing maypole dancing and Morris dancing and just sort of sitting and enjoying being in the young heritage orchard there. So, and it would be lovely, you know, to see that orchard grow over the coming decades and it go from being relatively slim trees and small trees at the moment to trees that will actually deliver a canopy in the summer of shade. Fortunately, we had the great green barn over the road, so we could go into there to have a little bit of shade and a little bit of cooling off. But it was lovely. And if you're a coffee member, I have posted a little bit of Morris dancing, of maypole dancing on Coffee. The reason I put it on Coffee is because I don't want to put it onto here on YouTube, because there's music involved and there's, you know, it's a community of people, including some kids. So yeah, if you're on Coffee, you'll be able to see it, but if you're not, you won't. But I'm sure you've got your own version of maypole dancing or country dancing anyway. So I want to now show you, well, I'm going to show you the Santolina just here. It's got that fragrant smell at the moment, which smells a bit like cat pee, but it's rather glorious in its silver leaf and gold flowers. So I'll just show you that. But I want to also show you the bed where we still have some tomatoes in. You might remember there are two beds next to each other. They've got tomatoes and beans in, and most of our tomatoes were sort of damaged or eaten by slugs sort of quite early on. One of the beds had perennial weed compost on it, and the other one next to it didn't. And it's interesting to look at how each are developing, and once you see it, you will understand what I mean. Also, huge thanks to Jeanette. I am now wearing a new pair of gloves. Jeanette bought me some more of the gloves that we use, which are shower gloves. I adore these. I do find that I get through at least a pair, if not 2 pairs a year. My nails grow really quickly, and if I don't keep on top of my nails, they can, you know, pierce the tip when you're working and you're working in the soil. I do quite like working in some soil without my gloves on, and there is a thought that if you do work with the soil without, in bare hands, without gloves, you benefit from some, is it microbial? I'm not sure, but there's a sort of happiness hormone that you develop from doing that. And I think that's quite true, but sometimes work is a little bit too mucky and you need to have gloves. So yes, thanks you very much to Jeanette. Jeanette bought us, I think, 5 pairs, which will last a good couple of years at least. I'm trying to put my carrot seed down. There we are. Let me show you the bed that I was talking about, which has got the perennial weed compost on top of it. If we just look first at the bed that hasn't had additional compost of any type put on, well, maybe a few bits. There's an emptied pot there and there's an emptied pot there from something that didn't germinate. But our beans are sort of germinating okay and growing okay. There's a few weeds over there, but it's pretty sort of bare really. And then if we just swing over here to the bed that had the perennial weed compost added, you can see quite a difference. So there's lots of weed here, and it looks mainly to be fat hen to me. There's a few other types of weed over here. There's some which is, when it grows, oh, it's like that over there. When it grows, it'll come up with a little yellow flower. And there's also some amaranth style over here. But yeah, clearly when I put matter into the perennial bin composter, perennial weed bin composter, I also put some annual weeds in, i.e. fat hen, that were going to seed or maybe even had reached seed maturity. And what's happened is it's composted over the 18 months or so, and now it's in here. It's obviously had warmth and water and light, and it's germinated. The good thing is, being fat hen, it will just pull out by hand. I'm just putting these here for the moment. That's a bit of feverfew there. That's going to come out as well. But yeah, that's going to be my next job, just clearing this bed. I have noticed over here just now there's a self-seeded tomato there. Oh, there's another one there. Oh, there's one there. Well, clearly there's some self-seeded tomatoes in there. Our tomatoes, we might sort of look at them. No, we'll look at them now. Our tomatoes, they're getting side shoots on. So I'm going to be taking those off. Because we need this to grow, these to grow. They're cordons and we need them to grow without side shoots. There's a side shoot over there. Oh no, that's got, look at that flower. Can you see that flower? That bit of yellow. That one I think might be a marmande or something, so I might leave it. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is get on and weed this bed. Hands and knees job, hands and knees job. A cursory weed of this bed. There's some sancphora right at the edge over there and over there that I need to take out, and I'll do that with a hand fork. But just coming over Not perfect by any means, but far better than it was before. And I think there were about 20 self-seeded tomatoes in here. There's 2 down there, there's several over there, and I wondered whether it was actually from the perennial weed compost bin, or whether those were seeds that hadn't germinated from seeds that I had sown. Because when I look at where they've germinated, like here, they're very close to the stem of the larger tomatoes that have gone in. Even here, there's a little one here, and it's close to that one that got eaten, which is beginning to grow. But there's one here, and where you'd expect, you know, if there's a proliferation of tomato seeds throughout the compost, you'd expect them to be around here as well. But all the ones that I found that have self-seeded are around the base of another tomato. So I think it may be seed that decided to germinate once it was in this ground. I.e., it's when I pricked these out, some other seeds came with them into their individual modules, and then when I put these in, the seed that was lying dormant in there decided to grow. I've stripped this one and this one here, and I've stripped that one a little there and this one down here, but those 2 I'm leaving as bush varieties because I think they are. But what these do need is a jolly good water, so I'm going to get on and do that. And I've already given the carrots a second water about 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to give them a third water now. It feels as though the sun is really beating down now. There are some clouds, but they tend to quickly scutter across. Even though they seem very slow, maybe they're just thin cloud, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty warm out there. I don't usually look at my phone once I'm at the plot, though I heard a ping on my phone, and I thought I'll just check who that is. And it was a fellow plotter saying, "Are you at the plot at the moment?" I went, "Yes. Would you mind getting me and you a pint?" Like, "No, I will do that." Oh, actually, I'm going to have a sip. 4 sips. 4 sips. So, yeah, there we are. So, thank you very much to that plotter. And yeah, I've done the water. I've done the third water of those carrots. I've given the lettuce a water. I was going to get the plants in that I got at the gate sale, though at my age there's only a certain amount of time you can spend doing things on your knees, and I've done those 2 beds. I mean, that tomato bed, the bigger one, the one with more growth in it, took longer, of course. So I've done that, and yeah, I'm going to give it, I'm not going to plant those plants out today. That's basically what I'm saying. Hopefully I'll do it tomorrow. I've got courgette, some butternut squash, and some tomatoes. So I'll be putting the tomatoes in. The tomatoes are they were sown in a module of 6 modules, and they've intertwined a bit, and that doesn't matter. I'm just going to plant them a little bit deeper because they won't mind that at all. They rather like it, and the fact they're intertwisted is not going to be an issue. I can sort of untwist them. And what I have done is I have done my annual magpie saving. I mean, it's not really annual magpie saving, but it does seem that most years now I save a magpie. you might have heard that chattering going on as I was filming the bed. I think it was when I was filming, there was quite a lot of magpie chattering going on. I thought, what's all that? It's usually when you've got sort of two parent magpies and a young magpie, and I could hear them on top of this shed, and I looked and I could see them flying over towards the next plot and then coming back. And I heard this bang. I thought, what's that? There was a magpie, the baby magpie, which is now sort of quite big, it's a foot long, was in the greenhouse of our next door plot people. So it was banging its head basically against the far end of the greenhouse because it thought it could get out. And I went around a long way around and then approached it from like 10 meters away on the other side. And when it saw me, of course, it backed away. And when it backed away towards the door. And then it tried to fly and it flew out the door. So, yeah, the magpies, I don't know if you can hear them in here, but there's 3 of them around and about at the moment. And I think they're doing sort of what magpies I find have done before. That one I rescued from the apple tree that I thought was just a hanging dead magpie a few years ago, you know, I'm sure that one is still around. They do live quite a long time, and after I'd rescued it, it would follow me home. It was mad. It would fly along the street, rest on the roof of a house. I'd pass it, it would fly on with me and pass me and rest on the roof of a house or a post or a fence or whatever. It was quite bizarre. And certainly now I'd say that there's the 2 magpies just sitting very unusually on the ground. The 2 parent magpies, not sitting, I mean they're you know, they're walking around, but find that quite unusual, especially when we got so many cats around here. Anyway, rambling. I'm going to finish my point. I'm going to finish my point, and I'm going to say goodbye. And I'll see you again in a couple of days, I think. And in the meantime, I'm just going to leave you with the Santolina. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. These are the tomatoes I got at the gate sale. This one comes straight up. This one at the back here sort of comes straight up. But this one here comes over from the back, twists around and twists up. The one at the back here twists and comes up at the back over here. This one comes up, bends around and comes up there. And this one sown here comes over here, twists around and comes up there. So what I'm going to do is bury them deeper. So I'm going to bury where I can. I mean, in this one, I think I'll bury all of this stem and just sort of twist it up a bit, because tomatoes quite like being buried. You'll notice sort of nodules maybe here and here and here at the back here. Can you see those? I'm not sure. And those nodules, they will become roots, so that's fine, taking up more nutrients. So I'm going to get these in and then I'll show you what I've done afterwards. that's those 6 tomatoes in. I think you can see they all look a lot more upright than they were. That one over there still looks a little bit drunken, but yes, they're all sort of at least going upwards, which is a good thing rather than sideways. And of course, what are they going to have now? A really good water. And in fact, I'll water that tomato bed over there as well, and I'll also be watering the carrots that we sowed the other day. And I'm very glad to say that we're going to be able to start harvesting from these lettuce. The green one is one of a trio of lettuce that we bought to eat at Lidl that already had or still had a root ball. And these are our own saved seed. And I think they're Marvel of Four Seasons. I think they are. But you know, these were sown, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. And we're just about to start harvesting them now. Madness, madness. Those are 2 courgettes over there on the far side. And then butternut quite close to that one. And then 2 other squash there. These are, I think, volunteer squash from a person that very often gives us potatoes and onions. And they've done very well with their volunteer squash over the years, so fingers crossed. And of course, these are going to have a really good water as well. And our little ones that are still in there, we'll just see how they do. But yeah, everything needs a water. So tomatoes in, courgettes in, butternut squash in, volunteer squash in, and fingers crossed. I have put together a solution of the grazers, slug and snail defense, and I've watered the plants that I put in today with that. So the final water was that. Apparently it makes the leaves a bit distasteful to slugs. And it has worked in the past but I find it's worked when the plants have been well established. Obviously these are bigger, but they've just been put in, so they won't be well established. And yeah, that's it for me today. So we had a really nice morning at Kew. I've done several hours work at my desk, a couple of hours down here putting those plants in and watering, and time for me to go home and have a nice cold cordial. So I am going to do that. I think we got up to, what's it, 530, 560. We're knocking about 580, 590 pounds now with the gate sale total. So that's really great. There's still some more plants there, so I'm going to give another shout out about donating, taking plants and donating. And one of our newer plot holders, she's been on her plot since October last year. She has a neighbour or a friend who is interested in 2 hostas, so I've given those to her, so that will boost by about another £5. So yeah, fingers crossed, we might get to £600, which would be wonderful. Anyway, that's it for me today. I will likely see you in a couple of days' time. I don't know what's happening tomorrow or the rest of the week, but obviously I will see you. What I have decided, I realised that Monday's segment was really quite long. Today's Q segment is really quite long. So I've decided that I'm going to do this as a three different uploads of this week's A Week at the Plot. I was doing 2 uploads most of the time last summer, and I've been trying to keep them to about 35-40 minutes or less. This week there'll definitely be 3, so there'll be part 1, part 2 and part 3. Yeah, there we are. I've decided to do that. Maybe I need to I need to put that in the text, don't I? For the first 2 parts, because it will be Monday Q, and then Tuesday afternoon, which is now. And then that will follow on. I'm waffling. I'm going to go. See you very soon. Bye.